welcome back to another episode of Creative Writing Advice with me, JJ Barnes. If you don't know me, I'm the author of How to Write a Story, which is out now on Amazon. It takes you from the beginning of your story all the way through to the end, and I cover everything in between. And that's kind of what I'm doing over here on YouTube. I take different pieces of writing advice, I break them down, I try to make them as accessible as possible so you feel confident and able to write your story. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to write a mentor character. So a mentor character is somebody who guides your character on their journey. So your character is called to action. They go and they start their journey, their story. They have a story goal. But a lot of the time they will be moving through a world that's unfamiliar. Either it's a new job and they don't know what they're doing, or it's an actual fantasy world where they have to discover how to use magic or the force or powers, anything like that, fight goblins, it doesn't really matter, but they are in an unfamiliar territory and they have to try and accomplish their story goal without really knowing where they are or what they're doing. The mentor character is the person who does know where they are, does know how to do everything, but it's not their goal. They're a peripheral character to your protagonist, but they guide them, they teach them. Now, a mentor character is very, very useful because if you're sending your character into an unfamiliar situation, firstly, that is a really good thing to do because that way your audience learns along with them. You're not dumping your audience into a situation where everybody knows everything that's going on and your audience is excluded. By sending a character in who is unfamiliar and letting your audience ride on that journey with an unfamiliar character, your audience is kind of welcomed along the way because, yeah, they don't know anything either. So they learn as the protagonist learns. The protagonist has a reason to ask questions, a reason to find out about the history of the world or the magic or the animals, because they don't know either. So it's a really natural way of your audience being introduced to something that isn't something familiar to them. And the mentor character is the person they can ask these questions to. Firstly, they can find out, where am I? What happens here? How do things work? What is the government system? How do the school work? It can literally be anything, but having the mentor character allows your protagonist to learn with the audience. Now, as your protagonist goes on their story goal, because at the inciting incident, you motivate them. They have something they want to achieve. Now, this can be anything, it doesn't really matter. But the point of your story is you join them at this point in their life because they are going on a story. They are trying to accomplish something. Something is happening in their life that you are riding with them to see. So they become motivated at the inciting incident and they start going on their journey. This is something that changes their lives, makes them make a choice to become active. Now, the mentor character kind of acts like a support system. I've talked before about isolating your protagonist, why you should make them fight alone. And this is going to come into this video as well, but in a slightly different way. So your mentor character teaches, guides, acts as a support system, brings your protagonist along on their journey by letting them into that world. So it's Obi-Wan teaching Luke to use the Force, it's Dumbledore guiding Harry on his life in Hogwarts, and also Hagrid and Hermione, of course, as well. They are also mentors to him because they teach him. They show him the world. They explain what's going on. They explain all of that sort of magical life to somebody who is an outsider like Harry. It happens a lot because it lets your audience in. So, as your protagonist is being guided by the mentor, they'll start to get stronger and more capable because they're learning. Now, your mentor still needs to be their own person. So in Hercules, Philoctetes, he is very much his own person. He is called to action just as much as Hercules is. He wasn't training Hercules till Hercules arrived. That was his inciting incident in his story. So Your mentor can't just be a blank guide that is waiting around for your protagonist to come along and need their help. You know, you have to give them their own story, their own motivation, their own experiences. Philoctetes, Phil, he's already got his own stuff going on. His concern for Hercules is after having failed, so he's trying to prove himself. He wants to make amends. This is a character that has their own motivation, so it's actually a really good mentor. But the point is, they are their own character, so don't just leave them as a blank slate. Don't leave them as someone just waiting around to train. They are on their own story. But as your protagonist gets stronger and stronger, and therefore starts getting into the position where they can accomplish their story goal because they've learned, they have, overcome challenges, things have got in their way, they have become almost worthy of the climax of your story. If your mentor character is still with them, still guiding them, still stronger than them, your protagonist isn't ready because they still need a teacher. So at some point, you have to make the decision to let your protagonist stand alone on their own 2 feet to accomplish this goal. Because if they don't, their mentor character should be the one to go and do it. Because they're the one who is capable. They're the one who is stronger and smarter, more experienced. You have to let the trainee overcome the master becomes the, point is, you have to let your protagonist overcome their trainers, their mentors' abilities. Now, you can, as I've talked about in other videos as well, kill your mentor. If you kill your mentor character, that is going to become a massive motivator to your protagonist. They are going to want vengeance for the death of their mentor, or they're going to want to live up to the lesson left behind. They're going to want to do something because this person who has trained them and taught them and coached them and been there for them, the reason they've got to this point in their story, the reason they've accomplished so much has been taken from them. So that is a massive motivator. Or you can have your mentor turn on them. You can have them be like, no, I actually want to be the one to get this thing, so I am going to turn on them and try and accomplish it myself, which means you have an extra antagonist against your protagonist, and then again, extra motivation because they're like, oh, betrayal, everything. So they are going to be set on that path to win. Or lose, it's your story, you can decide. Or you just have your protagonist strong enough to leave them behind. Less dramatic, but you might prefer it for whatever reason. I'm always a big fan of killing characters, so I would always vote for a bit of death, but you don't have to, it's your story. The point is, that mentor character at some point has to be severed from your protagonist. By severing that relationship, by whatever means you do it, pulling them away, your protagonist is then forced to stand on their own 2 feet, prove that they have become worthy of accomplishing their goal, demonstrate all the skills, everything that they have learned along the way, and achieve their story goal themselves. Not somebody else achieve it for them, not achieving it with help, achieving it themselves. They are then the star of the show, essentially. Your protagonist, this person whose story you've been going on, they're who you've been rooting for, that's who you are hoping to win. You watch them go for it as the audience. It's much more satisfying than watching somebody else do it for them, because otherwise, why are they your protagonist? If somebody else can do it for them, that person is the more interesting one. That's the person who you'd rather be seeing, rather be journeying with. Your mentor teaches, guides, has their own personality, their own story, their own reason, their own motivation for doing what they're doing, and then has to be taken away so your protagonist can stand on their own 2 feet. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this has been interesting. Talk to me, drop a comment below. Who are your favourite mentor characters? I've mentioned a few in this video, but obviously there are loads more. Talk to me about them. How were they removed from your protagonist? What happened? Was it worth it? Did you find that that was a satisfying story? And what mentor characters have you written? How did you teach and train your character, and how did you take that away so that they had to stand alone? I'd love to hear all about it. You can go to my website, which is jjbarnes.co.uk. Over there you will find links to all my social media, all of my books, my film, TV work. You can come and chat to me, you can come say hi. And please subscribe to this channel, because when you subscribe you'll get a notification that my new videos have come out and I can help you and be there part of your story writing journey, which I would really like. And yeah, thank you, and I'll be back again soon. Bye.